So here we are, the fourth policy under the IT department, information security policy. Information security policy. Let's see what we have here. Now, the purpose: data are important business assets. They are essential to maintain our competitive edge, profitability, legal compliance, and respected organizational image. It is therefore important to have these data used exclusively for authorized business purposes, as well as to have data handled correctly and with optimum regard to security and discretion. Now, the procedure: all data must be obtained and processed fairly and lawfully. No person should be deceived or misled about the purpose for which their data is to be processed. Personal data must not be used or disclosed for any reason incompatible with its original purpose. Personal data must be obtained only for specific and lawful purposes, with permission from the data subject for each use. Personal data has to be adequate, relevant, and not excessive in relation to the purpose for which the data is meant to be processed. So when you want to create, let's say you want to create user access and you're asking some questions, personal questions from the person, it has to be something relevant and not investigating or intruding into one's private affairs. Data should also be accurate and kept up to date within reason. Personal data should not be kept for longer than is necessary for the purpose it is intended for. Data subjects have the right to access their personal data. They also have the right to prevent processing that is likely to cause damage or distress. Additionally, they have the right to prevent processing for the purposes of direct marketing. Moreover, data subjects have rights in relation to automated decision-making, including the right to have logic explained to them. Personal data must be available to the individual concerned on request, and provision made for corrections. Back up or destroy data when no longer needed by an approved method with respect to the applicable laws. Data is kept up to date and not for longer than necessary. Data subjects have access to their personal data. Anyone providing data or a data communication network must ensure that the data involved are sufficiently confidential, available, and free of inaccuracy. In particular, the systems must be protected against unauthorized, accidental, or unintentional destruction, loss or technical malfunction, forgery, theft, or illegal use, unauthorized or unlawful modification, copying, access or disclosure, or other unauthorized processing. Workstations handling sensitive Crispan suite data are positioned so that unauthorized viewing of the screens is avoided. Information data carriers are locked up during long absences and in general outside the working hours. No computer resources may be accessed without logging via user ID and password. Every IT user has only access to the data and functionality necessary to do his or her job. Access to information assets classified as confidential or higher must be explicitly authorized, the default being no access. So from the IT department, everyone is required to have access to carry out his or her duty. If the person wants to view anything above him, access must be granted. So it should be an automatic denial unless access is granted by the IT department. Now, the access rights and privileges of staff which change their business function or organizational units or leave the employment of Crispan suites are removed immediately upon their departure, and we have 24 hours time. So anyone who has stopped working with Crispan suites and event center, HR department sends a message to the IT department and user access is disabled within 24 hours. Individuals receiving data media from within or outside Crispan suites from any source have the responsibility for ensuring it is checked for viruses before use. Data must only be downloaded under the following conditions. All data are checked for viruses using an IT security approved method and tools before they are installed on Crispan suite system. All data are business relevant and appropriate and are acquired and used in compliance with Crispan suits and legal requirements. The installation of software downloaded from the internet is subject to the standard software installation mechanisms. Backup requirements are explicitly defined and documented. Computer and network backup storage media is stored in a separate file zones from the machine producing the backup. Sensitive data and data carriers which are not used anymore must be disposed of in such way that the data cannot be subsequently reconstructed. For example, documents on paper are shredded. Employees and third parties access to Crispan sense of business critical data is allowed under especially tight control. All user IDs have the associated privileges revoked if no longer needed. User rights and privileges are periodically recertified by their management and the asset owners. Crispan Suite's approved latest virus protection software is installed and used for detection and prevention to eliminate the risk of data being infected by virus. Data is backed up periodically according to business needs. Data is well protected during transmission and when stored. Recovery procedure for backups is regularly tested and verified working. Full hotel hardware software's inventory to be given to GM each 3 months. Spot check from income auditor at any time for all hardwares and softwares are to be sent to the GM. That will be all for now. Thank you.